All right, everybody, we're going to get started again today. We're going to be talking about memberships in depth, and that is going to be a very, very detailed presentation today on how all this will go. All right, does everybody see all right? Okay, good deal. So today, memberships in depth. And we've gone through the beginnings of how all of our when it comes down to our customer base and all of our, when you have the customers and then you have point of sale and memberships, now we're going to tie all of those in together, and we're actually going to do a membership from the beginning. And we'll go ahead and get there. Let me stop real quick here. There we go. Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure I got. There we go. So again, for our today's meeting, again, here is the new Zoom address. They've added GPTX to our Zoom addresses. That's why I sent an update today. I just noticed it in our back area. But again, here's the phone number for that. Anybody that needed to get on later, a little bit later today, and all of our training videos again will be housed here at this link. And again, just as courtesy, just make sure we stay muted so I can get to there's a lot of details today. And again, we are recording, so just please share with your teams at the end to make sure that they all get the information. And any questions that you do have, we will review at the end. And at the conclusion of the presentation, when we see the Q&A, we will be completed for today's lesson. An overview. Let's talk about today. We're going to actually create an actual sale of a membership. We're going to see how the wizard is structured. When we go from the first part, choosing a package, going into the next part, finding the actual customer we're going to attach that membership to, those are going to be what we're going to see today, going through that whole wizard. And then we'll actually do a sale using a credit card, a fake one actually. You know, we're going to be making sure that and I've worked with the ActiveNET folks, and they gave me a credit card number to use, so that's fake, that we can do in the trainer. So we'll go through that today. Some of the other things that we're going to hit today too are looking at how we view members who are checked in. So we can actually see a full list of the members that are already checked in our building. And we're then going to show you how we get to the membership check-in. There's actually a couple ways like we've done before, multiple ways to get to places. So we're going to have that available too to see. Then we're going to show you about suspending memberships as well as transferring, and then refunding memberships. All of those we'll do a live preview of how all that works. So again, that's about our today's training. That's what we're going to be focusing in on. If you remember back when we did the customer search, we came to this screen on the home page. When we do a search, we'll go through and type the last name, and then we'll end up getting we did Ricky Bobby as a sample. And then when you get in here, when we did that membership the other day, we had a Summit Annual 50 Plus membership. That again shows up in their current membership part on the detail tab, as you see here. And again, we're going to expand on that a little bit today on the whole, actually seeing all that together. Now in review, we also, like I say, you can sell memberships in multiple ways. One is through the front desk banner tab, as you see at the top. That one, you can actually hit it and it will give you the options for renew membership, to sell, to modify, and transfer. Now we'll go into a little bit further detail about how to do those transfers, and I'll show you in a little bit. That second part is again on the detail tab that we just saw. Right down here at the bottom, when you see the current memberships, you can actually start a new membership right down there. So that's also very important too to know. So again, two different ways that you can actually start that membership process. When we do that membership, you do have about 5 major steps that you will go through. Again, it's a wizard, so you can, just like you were doing on an online checkout on, say, Walmart, you usually will go through a process to check out. And this is the same thing on Amazon. So you can look at those things. It's very similar here. The first part, again, we'll select a package, meaning a membership, a different type of membership you want. And then you'll confirm the customer. If you're already in that profile of the customer, you will then be able to see that you're just going to confirm that that's the customer you want to attach a membership to. And then from there, you get into the membership information. And this part right here is where we will confirm the dates of what the period of the membership will be. For it's a year, this is like, for instance, if we were getting on April 13th, We're confirming it for the April 13th of next year for 1 year, which in this case is annually. And again, we will talk later on in other videos about the automatic renewal. We'll go into a little further detail when we get some more information on that. When it comes to the fourth part of it, in the membership assignment, now you will confirm that all of their details, the contact details in this stage. Like when you see here, you will find that you're going to make sure this is the member that you do want. And most likely it is, because that's who you selected to begin with. And any overrides that you do have, it will show here. And for our sample purposes, we'll have those in today, and we'll just check them to keep moving forward. Now let's look at a couple of other buttons that we haven't really gotten to see before. Now you will see on here that there is this remove button right next to there. Now remove, in this case, will send you back to the beginning, basically to the customer part of it, where you can select another member that's where that confirm your details comes in, where you can remove this person and go to somebody else. However, you're basically starting over. So just keep that in mind when you see the remove button there. That will send you back here to the customer search in number 2. And then you also will see cancel right down here. Now this cancel avoids the whole entire thing. So if you wanted to get out of it completely and get out of that whole part about doing a membership, you would hit the cancel button right down here. And you'll see that commonly in ActiveNet, there'll be a little cancel button compared to the big buttons. If you hit the little cancel button, that actually takes you out of everything and gets you back to the start of the main screen where customer search is. So keep that in mind, though. You'll have the little cancel button sitting there as well on a lot of your screens. So again, those two are new for us, so just kind of keep that in mind when you're going through that process. Now you get over to the fifth part of it, the membership fees. You'll confirm these things right here. Like we've seen on the pictures before, it's confirming again that for this case we're doing the Summit Resident 50 to 64 plan for $205. It's confirming with us that we're wanting to do that. Now you also remember we can do coupon codes later on, and that's something that we can do. And from there we can enter it in this little space here. And then if you have staff notes or customer notes, you can do those right there in the blanks. You can just drop those down on the arrow and then input your data. And then the waivers, don't forget about waivers, because we'll let you go forward unless you have this checked off. But then again, we do have the membership waiver for the summit, and we do want that, so we will actually continue with it. And then you remember this good old screen, which is the pending receipt screen. Now this is, again, when you hit the front desk button, again, then the banner tab at the top, you will come to this screen. This is the overall where you can go anywhere you want to go. Now you do remember at the bottom, we do have is the confirmation screen. Now we've gone through setting up a membership, and here is where we can confirm that this is what we want. If we wanted to do more things, we could go ahead and add activities, or we can add another membership. Or if there was somebody that wanted to do a rental with us, we could add a rental at this time. And it just keeps a tab, basically just a whole complete list until you're ready to pay off. Now, we're going to continue with the membership in this case, but just know that, again, this is the confirmation part of the process. Right after you get to step 5, you then can go to select the pay. Now, why is that important, though? Like I said, you return to the pending receipt screen that allows you to give you more things if you want to add stuff to the order. That's perfectly fine. So you can add more items before paying. It's all very, very important. And again, it could be point of sale. It could be activities, rentals, you name it. All of those options that you saw there on the pending receipt screen, any of those you can add stuff to the order. And then when we resume, we're going to hit the pay screen. And when I talked about that, the pay screen is this here. So we'll be going forward with that part. And then you'll have options to choose, and then we'll select that first option. Okay, and then it gives you, because when we have it, there's a big old example of you can either do another search or you can continue with the customer you're working with. In this case, it's going to be a little small drop-down box, and you're just going to hit the select button to continue with the membership. And then we'll have the payment method, which again, when we see it live, we'll be actually doing credit cards and stuff this time, and we'll confirm the balance and then have the option to pay by credit card. We mentioned this last time in the point of sale, and the same thing goes pretty much across ActiveNet. When you do see the $sign, you can just hit the $sign to apply the full balance that needs to be paid. So those are very important there. We dealt with checks before. We also did some cash payments. This time we'll look at the credit card side. And again, we'll see that in full here in just a moment. And then that last step, when you get to the end, you'll then hit the pay and finish button. You'll see that right there. When you hit that, that'll complete that transaction once and for all. And then you will have the opportunity to give them a receipt, whether it's by email, a printout by the little receipt printer, or an 8x11 from our printer. So all of those options will be available to you if whichever one is at the time works for you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the trainer real quick and see all of this in action. And when we go back here, we had, and I brought up a couple of the family members here with Ricky Bobby and Carly Bobby, and all of those, again, we will see all of this in detail doing a membership. So for instance, again, we could go up here and to the front desk tab, again, brings back over here to our full screen of all these different choices. So right now in today's lesson, we're looking about memberships. So again, we can start by selling a membership to that. And we'll do a summon example here. And now when we get to the suspensions into the transfers, we'll actually do an Epic membership as well to see the difference between going from a monthly to an annual. So we'll see those as well. So we'll pick the Summit Resident 50 Plus membership. And because I left that screen, I'm going to go ahead and search Bobby again. And for Ricky Bobby, I'm going to click his. Now, we're building, and I have multiple memberships going, which is okay for this example. But no, usually you'll have just you're setting up the first one. But for training, this is what we're getting to see now. But again, like we said, we have the dates here. We'll confirm that we're going to be doing a 1-year membership, which in this case we have a couple on the books, but we're going to just add another one. We'll hit submit. We get here, we're now into that part where we're checking to make sure this is the person we do want to have as the Summit membership to be applied to. And we do, so we're going to submit that. There's that coupon code screen. You can basically avoid that right now, but if we did have any promotions or something and we wanted to do a discount, we could. Then you have the confirmation part about this is $205 that we're going to be paying. We can do that now, and we're going to move that forward. Don't really have any staff notes nor customer notes. I do need to make sure that waiver is in place. And then we'll go ahead and hit submit. Now we're back to our pending receipt screen where we can choose to go any direction we want to do another transaction, or we can go back and do just to do this, in this case, a renewal, and just close out our transaction. So at this point, we're ready to pay. So we're going to go up to our pay button. And again, you have a couple of different things. However, since we have already got the customer in place, we only need to use this first one for Ricky Bobby. Now, if you were wanting to do other family members, you could do that below. But right here, we're just going to do Ricky Bobby to add his renewal. Okay, so now we're to our receipt payment screen. We then have the ability, we're going to do a credit card this time, which will then allow us to finish out with a credit card receipt and $, and that will bring it down here. And for our training today, we have Mr. Danny Duncan as our guinea pig for a credit card. And these are all not doing it. Since we're in the trainer, nothing's going to happen. But again, this is one of those that we can see firsthand. So we're putting his information in here. There we go. Then the 3-digit code. And then we will pay and finish. So now, we've now done a full credit card transaction, as you can see. Now, do remember, as in previous trainings, I mentioned that we will have the actual PIN pads for those credit card machines, and we need to use those to be PCI compliant. This for training, though, this for just to run the credit cards, this is what we're using just to show the example. But again, you get that receipt now, and now we're able to then go. We went through a whole membership part of it and see how all of that came about. Again, you can see that when your waiver stuff, all your waiver stuff will show up here at the bottom of the receipt, and then all of what we saw before, the confirmation of the address and location up here at the top. as well as any way, whichever way you want to get that receipt to the customer. So that now is seeing the membership process all the way through. And again, seeing that process now hopefully makes it where it all connects. You have a lot of different choices in the process, giving you to where once you finish something, you can add something additional, and you don't necessarily have to stop, and actually get through that transaction before you do something else. You can add another program if you want to before you check out your memberships. So those are all real good. But again, you can see that now all in picture. So we reviewed in the trainer, and now we're going to kind of take a look at now how, when we get to memberships, we want to know when we start having folks coming back through and we're actually live in the system, we want to know who's currently checked in. Now, in the membership section, you actually have that side menu, the little navigation menu on the left. Again, when you see that there, you're looking right here on the membership. And we do have a place where you can see the currently checked in list. Now, because we're not completely live and we don't have people in there, you can search by your different terminals that are taking in the memberships and see who all is checked in. So again, you have ability to see that list anytime you need to during the day. So then that's where you can see the memberships that are currently checked in. We also have the validation part. Now, for those of you that remember class, this is the same thing that we've had before, the membership validation. Again, a couple different ways you can look at this. You can go in and see either through the member check-in, which again is at the top, right up here. You can access that member check-in. Now, when we get to all of our desks, once you're logged into the front desk at the summit, you'll be able to click on that, and then it will become a station, and you can see all that's coming in. Then also, when you come back here, you can also look at it again in that membership menu, and here at the bottom, you can see where it says past validation. You can get to either that screen either way. So again, multiple ways to do stuff. If I hadn't said that already, there's another one for you, but you can get around the system in multiple ways. I find that really nice, though. Yeah, I mean, your main banner tabs are the one big thing you want to remember, but know that in these side menus, you can also get to these places as well. But again, membership past validation, your check-in, you can get to those two places at the top and then on the side. Now we can also check in on, we get a lot of people that'll just want to know when they're renewing for their pass, what's the last date that their pass is good for. Well, we can look at that as well in ActiveNET, and it allows you, there's actually a place on here where you can just inquire. They'll just list the memberships as they are. And again, when you go into the front desk part of it, again, that membership menu that's on the left side, you will then, there's an inquiry button. When we have our scanners in place, we'll be able to scan that membership card, and it will bring up the current memberships that are listed. And how that will look visually is that you will then come here to the inquiry button, like we saw. And then when we have, like I said, when we have the scanners, we'll be able to scan the membership into this part, very similar to Center Edge, then hit submit. In this case, right now, I'm just going to look up the Bobby real quick. And you'll now see at the bottom here, here's the list of all the memberships that are currently on file. And if you look to the far right, the expiration of when they go. So that is where your membership inquiry, if you're just trying to find out when they expire, this is where you go. And it will list every membership that they've done and all of their expiration dates on the right. All right, so now we've looked at that. Now let's look at how we suspend memberships. Now, if there's a medical reason, or we've had that before where we want to extend a membership or something, we can suspend them for a little bit of time and then open them back up. If you need to do that, we do have a place for that. Again, you can submit the date to suspend that membership for a period of time, and then it's the same place where you can unsuspend it. And how you get there is going to be from here back on the membership menu. And when you get onto an actual membership package, you'll actually click on this. And you will see right here in this section, again, highlighted suspend membership. You can put in the dates here, for instance, and this membership is running from April 16th and May 16th is a real short one. Say, for instance, though, that you wanted to do it just for a short amount of time, so from April 28th, and then you want to go until, let's say, May 11th. If you want to submit those dates that they're going to be out for, you can then submit the changes right there, and you've now added a suspension on their account. You can unsuspend it the same way by just clicking here, and that will remove those dates once if it was actually done earlier or that you needed to put some more time on it. You can actually extend it if you needed to and add reason, kind of like you've seen in the checkout process. The same menu is applying here. So you can check out, you can actually suspend memberships as well here. And we haven't done a whole lot of extra stuff on training for this, but just to introduce you right now, there is the suspension of memberships by individual plan, and you can find those right here drilled into the membership part. Again, you just look at, you also have the, you also have your little breadcrumbs at the top here. Again, front desk, home, your membership inquiry, the membership admin is right here, and that's where that menu is. And again, it kind of gives you a little breakdown of where you're at in the system. But that's suspension of memberships, and as we just saw there, that's how you can do that. Now let's look at transfers. Now I'm going to use an example here from the Epic, and we're going to look at how a monthly membership we want to upgrade over to an annual membership. Again, hypothetical only. This is just for practice, but to show you how this all works, we're going to go through a live example on the database. So now let's switch over back here. I'm going to go back here to the beginning. And again, since we haven't closed out any of our folks, they're going to all appear again in the searches. They'll just come right back to our home screen. Now, say for instance, though, Ricky, Bobby, and I believe this is the one I did. Yes, or actually it was the other. It was Carly. Yes, so we're going to actually look at Carly real quick. Currently, she has a Epic single-month adult membership. And why that's important is because she now wants to go ahead and pay for a full year. And when you do that, you are going to go through a transfer process. And how that works is that you're going to want to go in and see the history of when that membership was purchased. It's important to know that that transaction that they paid for that membership, it's all tied there. So when we go back to history, if you all remember back at the history tab, and we look back and we saw how we could get the records of everything that they've done, that's going to be important here. So we're going to load that up, and now we're going to see that we had Carly had paid. Let me move this over so I can see a little bit. There it is. So again, you have Carly Bobby. She purchased that single membership right here, the monthly adult, because we're wanting to now transfer that into and exchange that to a full annual membership. And how to do that is you hit the type of membership of where that transaction was. And I'm going to go back there again to show you. And I went a little bit too far. Sorry about that. Let me try back again. So again, you get on here for Carly, go to history, go to records, and here's the monthly again. So again, see that you have the description of what you purchased. Here's the receipt number, and here's the one that she purchased for the month. Now, in order to do the transfer, it's going to be important that you hit the type that it was a sale, and because this is going to give you some options to either suspend it, to transfer it, to refund or cancel, and you'll see that here in a second. So when we click on membership sale, you now will see all the different things, the different actions. And for that, it can then go from, you can start showing either if it's a renew membership or transfer, refund or cancellation. In this case, we're going to look at the transfer. And transfer is important because we're going to want to move up to an annual. So now we're going to look at the annual. And again, you're going to see it's very similar to how we set up a membership. But then it also does the proration as well if it was, and because of when the date was. And again, we set it up today, so it's already basically depreciating just like a car would. Same thing here. A membership is being used as we go. The service is being used. So now we're wanting to go ahead and update this and transfer to an actual annual membership. So this is again confirming what you have, what you're actually going to be refunding back to apply to the new membership. So with that, we're going to hit refund. And then this time we're going to look at the Epic's membership real quick. And this is the one we did before, but now we're going to move over here to annual adult resident. Okay, very similar as you saw. You can now then do the 16th. This is going to be for the year now. So we're again the standard fee $2.99. All right. We're going to go ahead and submit this. Confirmation again of the address and who you're actually applying this membership to. Shouldn't change at all unless you made an error. That was the only time you would probably want to remove it. But in this case, we're going to keep submitting because this is correct. No coupon codes. Here's, again, the fee breakdown. Now, look right here, though, and you can see the pending refund from transfer. Now, this is, again, is going to lower the cost because it's going to basically make the difference of what the annual membership is going to be from where the monthly membership is going to be. So just to show you where that's coming into place. And then we also have some custom questions as well that Epic will have, and I don't think are required. So I'm going to skip that for now. But again, you then will want to apply the waiver, make sure that the waiver is in place, and then you hit submit again. Here's our pending receipt screen, as you'll see. So right now we're trying to transfer into a new annual adult resident membership, transferring out from the monthly pass. So again, here is your your review confirmation of what's going on here. You're looking at the bottom. We're going to be, the difference again is $261.26. Again, that's what will be owed today because we are upgrading from that monthly all the way up to that annual membership. So we're going to continue with that. So we'll hit pay. Again, selecting Carly Bobby. Okay. So now we're down to the balance here. The balance again, $261.26 is what's owed because we're moving from monthly to annual. We'll hit apply this. Oh, good, I remember my stuff. The only thing I need to put in for security again is the code. And then we pay and finish. So now what we're looking at is that, and it breaks it down very nicely. So you again, in Carly Bobby just went from a single monthly adult pass, again, a membership that transferred out, where we transferred into a new Epic annual resident membership. So again, it gives you the nice breakdown of that. It then shows you the difference and everything of what the prices are. And then you look at what was the amount that still remained to be owed. And again, this case was $261.26. And then again, we have on the Epic, our membership and waiver policies are now going to be listed here in the receipt. So you can now see all that now. And again, that shows you how exactly you do a transfer from one membership to another. It can be done in the reverse way too. So you can look at it another way. But for the illustration today, just to show you where you can change from a monthly to an annual, then this is how that process works. You will be able to see that. So that again, that's on membership transfers. Now the refund part of it. Now we also have refunds. Now keep this in mind. One thing I have reviewed when going through ActiveNET, and one of the things that the help section was talking about, very important to know that when you're refunding a package, it will void all previous scans from the customer on the member usage report. So if you do end up using the member usage report, now that will be, that you need to keep that in mind. And we will be looking at reporting next week and some of these different reports, as well as then activities on Thursday. But again, to show you a live example of that, we're going to go back and we're going to look at a refund now of a membership. So now we've done this one now, and we're wanting to go ahead and go back to the beginning. Okay, so now we're back here, and we've also have a bunch of different memberships in here. Now, here's Carly Bobby's new Epic Annual and Summit Annual. Again, just for illustration, we at least now have 2 memberships in here that we're working with. So, for instance, now Carly doesn't want to do the Epic anymore for whatever reason. So what we're going to do now is we're going to now initiate that whole refund process. And how do we do that? Well, we can go in here. There's a couple of ways to do it. We can go back into our history. And if you do have the receipt, if they have the receipt number right at hand, we can enter this in too. But the easy way to go is you can just go right in here and look at, what was the receipt from that was paid for. And now we have the receipt just recently for the $261.26 that we upgraded from that membership. And just to make sure that we got everything going, this is really good. So we actually want to click on this is that receipt. Okay, and then, oh, that's not the right one. I'm sorry, it's still type. So again, membership type, we want to go back here. This gives us the options. So do remember that, going back again, when you get back to that history tab, the history tab again shows you that you don't want to click actually on the receipt because it doesn't give you that refund option. When you do go on there, that membership type where you transferred in that membership, now that is right there is where you're going to have all your different options to do stuff. So if I hit membership transfer in as the type, you then can go down here right below where we were before for the transfer. We can now do a refund. And again, this sets up very similar to what we've done before. It's very uniform through that process. That wizard is very uniform going through. So we do want to go ahead and cancel this membership and refund it. So we're going to hit submit. We're going to submit the refund and cancel immediately. We're then going to go and then we're going to confirm that this is the actual membership we do want to actually take out, and in the case it is. So we do want to refund that. The cancellation reason, we have just a generic one that we could select. And if you wanted to add more, I think you could do that. And no staff notes or customer notes needed right now. So we're going to hit refund and finish. Okay. Again, the payer to receive the refund, this is the confirmation screen of that. And then we're going to refund that full membership back to them. And this case, we paid, I believe, this was the original one, so we paid actually by, because this was not the credit card one, I don't think. So refund by check, we had that available to it. So we can click on that, and that will apply that by check. And again, the refund by check is not anything. It basically serves as like a gift certificate. It doesn't take from our regular amount. We have to submit that through to our accounting department in order for that to be refunded back. So we can't refund cash or checks directly on the day of or any time. So just know that we would have to send that on. But you now can see that you can do the refund in here as well. And again, it cancels out that pass as well. And again, I do want to look at the credit card one too, because you can also do that as well. So I'm going to go back here, back to the customer. Okay, so we're back at the customer, and I'm going to go to Ricky. I believe that's the one I want to make sure of that we had of history. Okay, so then we've got, there's the visa that we had there. So now let me scroll down a little bit. So what I want to do is to see what the refund of this will be as well. And we should be able to do all three. So now here's that renewal that we did. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and cancel this renewal that we had. Same thing again. We're going to refund and cancel immediately. And confirming again the 205 that we did earlier. And we're going to have a cancellation. And I think, maybe this wasn't the one, but again, same thing applies though. Again, if you did it by credit card, you would have that credit card ability to do as well. And again, you would apply that back to the credit card, however it was done before. So again, you have that ability to do that. But again, we'll finish this out here. We're going to apply the full payment and refund the finish. And now we got a receipt and cancel the membership from before. So now that's all. So again, we've now seen how we can, again, one, we can now suspend memberships. The second thing is how to transfer them. And third is how to refund. So all of those, we now have been able to see an example of how all those work. In summary, this again has been a pretty detailed lesson. However, what's really important though is that we now have gone through how to sell a membership. We also now view the areas of one, who checked in at a location, again, where we saw that again, just as a refresher, When we came back in here we had the membership check-in. We also wanted to make sure that we can select the currently, oh, why did it freeze? Oh, I don't know what oh, there it goes. All right, so now the currently checked in, that's again what we're focusing on here on that first bullet, is we can see how many people are actually coming through our building and who are checked in. So that's where that first part comes in. How do we check for that membership status? And if you remember back, when we check that membership status, we go over here to the side navigation bar, go down here to, and we're going to actually inquire. And again, we want to know, and since I don't have the scanner, I can look on here. And again, our expiration dates are all shown here for whatever membership is there. So we can actually see that too. So that's the membership status and when they go. And then how to get that to the membership check-in. We saw that again where it froze a little bit ago. The membership check-in by hitting this button on the banner tab, or coming right down here to pass validation. Either one of those two will get you to the same place. So you can see that as well. Just like you see, you can get to either place. And as long as that scanning station's set up to do that, it'll come right here, and then members will, when they scan in, their stuff will start showing up right below here. And then again, we talked about the suspending, the transferring, and refunding of those memberships. And a lot of those, again, and when we got back in there, it is a little bit detailed when you're trying to get to that location. But as in review, when we get back in here to search our folks, and let's get Ricky Bobby back in here. We then, again, the history tab, and you can also do it by individual customer too, just to break down. We just want to see Ricky's information. We can go in here, and remember that the type is where all of our different options are. If you did click on here and see it showed up, we had the cancel membership from earlier. So everything just again in case a running tab inside the history tab. But again, when you did click on here and you wanted to see all of the different options, and since we already did that one, that's actually a good example to go back. But see, you can also see though that everything that we've done is nicely laid out, and is labeled here very, very clearly, what's going on. So you can see that in their history. But again, the type is very, very important when it comes to getting the options, because we already did that when you won't see the refund again. But on the ones that you haven't refunded, you'll have either the transfer option, suspension, or you can do the refund. But all of those will show up there. But that pretty much wraps up what we talked about today. Again, this one, memberships, you saw a lot of the different elements from before when it came to point of sale. That same wizard is very, very similar in every portion of ActiveNET. Now, what you do see is, some new buttons, some new ways of some different prompts that come up. So a lot of those that we wanted to focus in on today. And I think that we had a real nice detail of seeing all of those different examples. And now we are to the conclusion where we have questions and comments. And again, for those of you that like to stick around, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And that'll be good. I hope that was very informative.